Are you having a hard time with all these video calls? We're going to talk all about it. Stay tuned. That's what's up next. Hi, my name is Natasha Daniels. I'm a child therapist and I make videos for kids with anxiety or OCD. And today I want to talk to you about this new normal that we have going on that's requiring a lot more video calls. And when I say video calls, I'm talking about anything that requires video. So we have Zoom calls, Google Hangouts, we have a lot more FaceTiming, a lot more Skyping, and there'll probably be even more than that. Are you having to do a lot of that? Unfortunately, a lot of us are doing virtual stuff. We're doing virtual schools, we're doing virtual therapy, maybe even virtual classes, even virtual dance. And for some of us who have anxiety, that's a bit overwhelming. And I get this because when I first started doing things online, I would get literally sick to my stomach every time I had to do a Facebook Live. And the biggest part of it was the video. The video made me nervous. I didn't want people to see me. I was okay with people hearing me. Do you feel that way? So we want to talk about what makes you the most anxious about video calls. And I want you to know that it's totally normal and totally understandable. Even people who don't have anxiety sometimes feel uncomfortable with video. In fact, when I try to get people on my podcast and I tell them I'm going to video them, they get really nervous. And these are people who speak in front of large groups of people. Video just has that power to make us feel really insecure, but it doesn't have to. Obviously, I got over my fears, and you can too. The thing is, anxiety will want you to avoid. So anxiety won't think of a solution. Anxiety will think of an escape plan. So anxiety will tell you, you don't have to do video calls. Do we have to go and do that Zoom call? Do we have to FaceTime our friends? Can we just hide in the corner? And yes, obviously you can, but is that facing your fears? Is that teaching you how to fight through your anxiety? And it's not an all or nothing thing. There is so much middle ground that you can walk in. A lot of times when we think of beating our anxiety, we think of the end result. So we think of, well, either I'm going to do that Zoom call or I'm not. And there's so much in between. When we say we're not going to do it at all and we avoid it, we make excuses, then we're empowering our anxiety and we're growing it bigger. And the louder it gets, the more it's going to tell us not to do things, and it can overtake our life. If we do things that make anxiety a little bit uncomfortable, if I say, well, I'm not ready to do a video call, but I'm going to sign up for that Zoom call and I'm going to put my video off, my audio is off, nobody can see me or hear me, but I'm going to participate, I'm going to listen, and I'm going to get used to the format. If that's an option, definitely take that option. And maybe if you are really overwhelmed and it's not typically an option, maybe your parent can contact the teacher or the relative or the class instructor and make an exception. Because it's really good for you to get used to just the format of being in a video call. So you don't have to do video and you don't have to do your audio. You can be not on the screen and you can not have your audio on the screen. And that's a really good start. There are other options. Maybe that's too much. You can try to practice by recording yourself. And so you can record messages to the people in your family or your friends and you can text it to them. That's a great way to start feeling a little bit vulnerable because you're doing a video, but having a little bit more control than it being live. So what are some of the middle baby steps that you can do towards getting used to video? Because we don't want to just avoid it. There are things that you can do. You can also maybe practice with people that you feel comfortable with. So if you feel really comfortable talking to your grandma, then start FaceTiming your grandma. And then maybe you could do a group call with your grandma and your grandpa. And then maybe you can do a Zoom call with your grandma, your grandpa, and your cousin. And you can start getting used to the environment so that it's not as overwhelming when you're doing it with people you don't know well. The other thing about video calls is sometimes you can get your image off the screen. I don't like to see my image staring back at me. So if there's a way for me to remove myself so I don't see that, that makes my social anxiety get a lot better. So practice and really get to know the platform that you're using, or have your parent help you get to know the platform you're using and all your options. A lot of times you can put fancy screensavers up where there's wallpaper or things that don't show your face. And there's ways to get rid of the tile that shows you so that you're only staring at the person who's talking. The other thing I'd recommend if you're using Google Hangout or Zoom or whatever new thing is going to pop up is there's normally a gallery view, and you can change that. So you don't have to see every tile of every person who's in that call. You can just listen to the speaker. And so take it off of gallery view and stop seeing like 50 little tiles of people staring at you. That's kind of uncomfortable. Now, eventually, if you want to build your way up to that, that's great, but you don't have to. Staring at one person who's instructing you or who's talking is a lot less anxiety-provoking than staring at 50 people who are staring back at you. My ultimate message for you in general, overall, with anything I teach you, is don't look for the easy way out. I know that that is so tempting, but when we look for the easy way out and we don't inchworm our way up to facing our fears and working through it, then we live a life that doesn't provide the happiness and the joy that we could and should deserve. So find little small steps that you can move in the right direction. And even just making a recording of yourself, that's a step in the right direction. And practice, and over time, it will get easier. Look at me. Well, I hope that you find the sparkle in everything you do, and I'll talk to you again next Thursday. Take care.